Hello everyone and welcome to my fabulous live on Connect and Convert with Amy Mingan. Amy is one of my beautiful clients and I really wanted her to come in today to share with you that it can be relatively easy to get started with your mastermind, and she's going to show you kind of a couple of cool tips and tricks that she used, and I guess not really tricks, just actual connection and how she got started without even using any paid ads to fill her first mastermind. So firstly, welcome Amy. Do you want to just let people know who you are, where you live and all that jazz and what you offer?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for having me today.
My pleasure.
So I am a naturopath and a yoga teacher, and I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland. And I have been through a few little mentoring programs myself as a naturopath to try and build my business and build a following and to get my business online. And I felt like I'd come full circle with that. And I was starting to be approached by a whole bunch of other naturopaths and nutritionists in the online space. Oh, how did you do this? And how did you launch that program? And how did you do that? And because it was all very easy and fresh for me, I was giving out free advice. And I was like, oh, hang on. From the famous words of Denise DT, she's like, those things that are really easy for you, you should be charging for them. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. And so I got in contact with Victoria because I thought a mastermind is going to be the best way to do it. And literally there's like a seminars and events page that naturopaths and nutritionists can actively promote whatever they're doing at the time. And I literally just it was quite a markety type, it was an invitation for people to join a pilot group.
Yeah.
And they had to meet a certain criteria. And from that, I just said, pop your details, pop a I'm interested down below and I'll get in contact with you. And I literally had over 100 responses.
Oh, my goodness. So this was something that actually, you know, I kind of gave you a bit of the lines that we just put in the other day in the group if you're looking for how to generate consults pretty much out of thin air. That was one of it was actually, you could use it as an email and you kind of just reworded it and popped it in the Facebook group, right?
Not expecting it whatsoever, but it was like, okay, this is happening.
Fantastic. And it just,
and I just started booking discovery calls.
Yeah. So you just set up consult calls. So you had 100 people reach out. Did you have a qualification process then, or you just started jumping on the phone and talking to people, or what happened then?
Yeah. So after that, I basically filled up way too many spots. A big learning for me was like, holy moly, you can't do 34 discovery calls in 1 week.
No, might be aiming a little high on your own. Yeah, with small kids. You've got two small kids, right? How old are your kids?
Yeah, nearly 8, nearly 5.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so 4 and 7 at the time.
Yeah.
So running all of that and still running my naturopathy business and all the online stuff at the same time, it was like mayhem, particularly in my head.
Yeah.
So yes, big learning from that was just to spread it all out, and there's no rush with it. But each person had I took them through a discovery call process to figure out where they're at, where they want to be.
Yes.
And I had in my mind the type of person who I wanted to take into this mastermind, and they knew that I would be inviting and choosing a particular type of person to come into the pilot program.
Yes.
And so they were like, oh, so, you know, once we got to the end of the discovery call, they knew whether they did or they didn't, and I knew if they were a right fit as well.
Yes.
So,
and I guess that's the thing when we set these conversations up, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to be on the phone, right? And, yeah, you already had a challenge going, 34 people have raised their hand. Now, if we'd have kind of expected or anticipated that response, we could have even got together to plan out and say, Amy, hey, why don't you invite those people to a Facebook Live or a private webinar? You could have gotten them on a call and we could have structured that. But really, we were just, you to your credit, were about just taking imperfect action, going, right, I'm going to start it, I'm going to do it. You have your clinic, you have your yoga, you have an online yoga membership site as well. You've got a lot of things going on. Mum with 2 small kids, as we talked about too. So helping, having this passion for helping naturopaths and nutritionists really get freedom from their clinic-based business is just huge. And, you know, talking about the other day, obviously in the Mastermind Live workshop, we've been talking about pinpointing your marketing message. How did you find as well just that ability to kind of really go land on your market and go more specific? Because you could have gone, all right, I'll just go all health and wellness. But really we kind of had talked as well about diving into those naturopaths and nutritionists who work in have their own clinic or are seeing clients in a clinic, right? Tell me a bit more about that and how that's worked for you.
So really I felt like I had been through the trenches myself. So the fact of like being able to offer them something, I am probably that little, you know, it could be 6 months, a year, 2 years in front of where these people are who I'm talking to. So I can definitely empathize with exactly where they're at, and also see a bit of a path paved out in front of them, particularly to move into more of an online space and to leverage their time and their expertise as well, because a lot of them have problems with being visible, and they've you know, a lot of that imposter syndrome, and some of them are new grads, or they've only been naturopaths for a couple of years, and who am I to like bring out an online course, and you know, all the different things. So helping them really tame the gremlins, but also like pinpoint the gremlins and say, I can actually help you with that. So
but obviously those feelings would have come up for you too, thinking,
oh, totally.
Well, who am I to, you know, particularly because you had been in other masterminds in your industry as well, right? So you had realised the benefit of it and realised, oh, this is something that you want to do, but you hadn't set up your own one. So many times clients say to me, well, I don't know, other people do it and they do it better than me, and those kind of things come up. So what was there one thing that sort of got you through that, or did you just kind of white knuckle it? Or tell me how you kind of took action just in spite of that.
Yeah, so I think because the market for like this particular niche is just they're so hungry for change, and they're just like, I really need help with this, and they're just so, okay, I feel like you're the right person to help me. And I just know that there is way more than enough. And everyone will get the right thing out of their particular mentor. So I really had to feel the fear and be like, just step into the abundance mode and be like, okay, fear, sit aside, because there is so much more opportunity for growth and expansion, not only for myself, but everyone who I'm serving as well.
Yeah, and so you found actually as well quite high rate of people to say yes, because you had been present in that group too. I think that's an important thing to notice, you know, just going into a group that you've never shown up in, you know, that strategy of just posting, you'll still get some momentum. You might not get 34 books like Amy did, but just in that, being in that space of giving and showing up, giving value and having that, that reciprocity definitely comes back. And you found even with the calls that you did have, most said yes. I think it was like 1 in 2 or something you ended up.
Or early on it was 1 in 2, but I think I was really fatiguing by the end of the 34 calls.
You were like, that's
and so I sort of lost my way for a little bit, like, or maybe it was kind of like 2/3 of the way along I sort of lost my way, and then I sort of like pushed a few out to the next week. So all in all, it was about a 40% conversion, which I'm really happy with.
Fantastic. And then able to bring them all into a group for the first time. And also that's really what was inspiring you, right? Like you knew how you benefited from being in a mastermind and how seeing what other people were doing even outside of your industry. And so the mastermind you're in with me, being able to go, okay, they're doing that. Maybe I could apply that now and get moving, rather than, you know, do you find that sometimes, I mean, I find this when I've been in programs where I've been privately coached versus masterminds, it's easy to kind of sit and think when you're being privately coached, well, should I do this? Even though you've got that accountability with a mentor, you sort of feel like things can sit and wait a bit longer sometimes, right?
Yeah, totally.
Whereas when you're seeing people in a group take action, and do you find this in your own mastermind now? Do you love having your own curated group and the ability to kind of help them have that community inspiring them on?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really what they're craving as well. It can be quite lonely having your own little clinic and just serving your people. And, you know, like a lot of them are introverted as well. So for them to actually go and project themselves into a different space, it's really, really tricky for them.
Yeah.
So giving them a safe space and having boundaries around that safe space, they really do blossom, and allowing them that space to even like come on camera in the group so that they can practice as well, like perfectly imperfect, showing up, taking action within the group, so that then, you know, some of them finally did their first live on their business page, you know, things like that. So we've all got to start somewhere, and it's nerve-wracking to begin with. But how great it is for them to feel that, you know, that exhilaration after they've done it.
Yeah, and I think what's important to note here, you didn't have, even for them to apply for a call, did you sort of have a page, or did you just say message me? You didn't really even set up. There was no funnel. There was, like, just to be clear, because, you know, often, and I see this in the dialogue in this group, people are like, well, what tool should I use for this? And how should I do my webinar? And how should I do my slides? And so to be clear, because how many did you get in that first round? Was it 7? I was trying to remember how many you ended up
in my mastermind.
In that mastermind, yeah.
Oh, I allowed 10 in.
10. So there you go. I'm thinking you had 7, and I was like, you did so well filling it with 7. Okay, so 10 people, no landing pages, no tech.
No.
The only tech you were using is Facebook, and you were talking to them on the phone, I assume, or, you know,
Messenger. I was literally probably the only tech I used was Facebook Messenger.
Right.
I just wrote a cool little wordy thing, and it was literally just copy, paste, change the name, send that to her. So that's her invitation. Then they'd all get back to me, and I'd literally just have to be looking at my diary. Okay, I've offered that time, I've offered that time, I've offered that time, and just like boom, 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 and just go through them. And then after that, booking them in. Yeah. And then I literally was calling them via Messenger as well.
Yeah, so I was going to say, everything done on Facebook. It was a Facebook post. No landing page. It was Facebook Messenger and calling them on. It was everything done on Facebook, low tech. So I was really excited to go, Amy, can you, I said to Amy, please come and hop on the live. More than anything, I want to show that you don't want to get all bogged down in that. Like now we're working on the funnel, and we're going to even go dive in this week. And I look at the ads as well, and the one that we've put in the conversions, I think we're getting them at $3 an opt-in, which we can probably improve on, but that was moving. So, even with that, you were like, right, I'll just put some posts up, and then I'm like, well, let me have a look and we'll change it around. So we can start to dive into that now that you've got proof of concept. You understand the kind of clients you want to bring in. You can be a bit more deliberate about it. And build on the success you've already had. But and I'm sure you just feel like now, okay, it's like it's all doable. I know that, by the way, and I always say this to you, you're going to have a humongous business, not only because you take action, but because you have got such a nice dialed-in message to market. It does make a really, really big difference to do that work and be really clear on that. And for you, I'm thinking about playing devil's advocate here, and what people watching this might think, oh, well, her market's really clear. But when we started talking, you also have a yoga teaching kind of, a part of what you do, right? Yoga is a very big, platform for you as well. So there were all these different, when we brainstormed, and I know you had a bit of resistance to that brainstorming too, because you wanted to be multi-passionate, right? You wanted to have all those parts. But do you want to talk to that a little bit and just sort of share, when you came to that thinking, oh, I don't really want to narrow it, and how we were still able to kind of incorporate that freedom element in the yoga?
Yeah, well, so it's interesting because I feel like since that boundary's been set, I've got so much more laser focused. Yeah. So when I go a bit deeper, like, yes, it's awesome to have all these offerings. If I go underneath, like, what's the core thing that I was tuning into? It's like that feeling of that everything is enough, that I've got enough, that I have enough to offer. And so I think because, like you said, I've proven this concept and there's enough people there, there's more than enough people there, there's more than enough money coming in, all of those different things. I think that I was always using all those other little pockets of online programs and memberships and things like that to try and scoop up a little bit extra to supplement my other income. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So purely like, to open up and be a bit more vulnerable, like it was probably more from a money sense and not feeling like what I had was enough. Whereas now it's like when I really truly stepped into my power of the coaching realm, I'm just like, wow, yeah, there's so much more than enough. And I really want to do really well with this. And there's so much to offer.
Yeah.
And so, there was a little bit of like, there was resistance because I had to go there.
Yeah, right. And you had to put that flag on the hill and say, this is what I'm going to stand for. And
that's it.
It's scary going all in, but the power of going all in is that, you know, the universe hates a vacuum, right? So when you go and take that stand and fill it, you put your flag on the hill, they're all coming in to say, I need that help. You know that your niche is there's demand there, that you're connected there and there's an opportunity. And even recently you were saying to me, okay, well, I do have my online yoga membership, right? And it provides, you know, some good recurring revenue. But I just had to say to you, can we just park it for now? So
it's exactly what I've done.
It's just not now, because with every part of you that's pulled somewhere else, you're not showing up fully to give this the momentum or get the momentum from this that you deserve, right? By putting into it. And I know it's really hard to let go of the focus on those projects. And even another woman in our mastermind group the other day was saying, well, you know, I just sort of want that page up there because some people come and they might buy it. And they did. A couple of people had bought it this month, and that's fine. But by having that focus there on those little dribs and drabs, you might then sacrifice, like for you, I could see that yoga membership being a distraction right now without you having a team, right? If you had a team in place and we could delegate, absolutely, we can go back to that. So I said, we're not getting rid of it. We're just parking it for now. But in order to protect, you know, $1,000, $2,000 of income a month, you're sacrificing 10 a month. So
that's it.
What's that opportunity cost? Let's put aside the distractions, because the distractions often are just resistance as well. Not that I'm saying it's valid. You were getting some income from it, and I'm not saying it was a flippant concern that you had, but we have to just clear the way to just go all in with one program to begin with. And you can now see how this can sustain you, and this can give you more than sustain you, right? Like, and I can see that too. Of the ability to take those distractions out and just get really, really clear on it, and not have to be uber fancy with all your, you know, complicated funnels. You can just get started using the power of beautiful Facebook. We love it.
Yeah. So grateful for Facebook.
Yeah.
So many people talk about how they hate it. I'm like, I love it.
Well, we wouldn't be here without it.
No.
I literally would not have a business without it. I cannot ever, badmouth it, because it's such an amazing tool. And yes, there's the opportunity to now go in and pay, because also you've already established some revenue too. So it's a matter of, okay, how can we now reinvest, but reinvest wisely in a way that can multiply that investment for you? And
exactly.
The other beautiful thing you've got is that you've got a way to target, you know, we can actually categorize the people that you're after. They're on their Facebook, say, hey, we know those people, we'll let you target them. Like, how great is that?
So good.
It's gold. So now you can see that path to recurring, because you did the open and close, and which is often what people want to do to start. Like, okay, let's just test the water. Whereas now you're going to have it ongoing in enrollment, right? Yeah. So it's just easeful and no big launches. Just come on in, and as you go, get moving.
That's it. Yeah, I'm going through with the people in my Facebook group. I'll do some live training this week to encourage, you know, the next bulk of people like to come through. Yeah,
absolutely. So that starts
because they're super engaged in my group at the moment. For every post I put out there's at least 30 comments. They're just filling it up, and I'm just like, awesome.
That is
so.
It is. Yeah. It's gold. It's gold. Well, like when we're going to work on as well. Yeah. How are you going to structure that training? Do some live training in the group. Get to that natural crescendo, but also share some great values. So once again, you've got that exchange, that value exchange, and you're only going to be going up from there, because while you have this space, this is where now you can be locking down those elements of teaching that you'll do. So we'll be able to dive into that a little bit more too. But is there anything else, any other advice for people sort of sitting there with their online course? I mean, you didn't have an online course as such, but you had your yoga. That was where you started, right? In putting something online.
Yeah, and because I used to only really focus online course stuff towards the general public, like I'm really specific for women's health, so I know that inside out, and that's who I normally would project my messaging to. But I've also had a lot to do with naturopaths and nutritionists, so it was just like a little pivot to go, I'm going to talk to you guys now.
Yeah, exactly. And letting go. But did you feel that as well of when you set up? I mean, now you've got the online yoga platform set up. It's like, well, it feels a lot easier, but to set that up would have been a lot harder work than your Facebook post and enrolling your 10 mastermind clients, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is
so much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more admin involved with running a membership site. I had no idea until I started, and people losing their login and people asking questions and, just like the ongoing, I was like, oh my goodness. And I've got a VA for that, but they don't know how to answer every single question that comes in. So there's still a fair amount of extra stuff for the amount of money I get. It's like, I am happy to park that for the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. We can look to scale it up later, but I hear it time and time again, and really that's part of this week and the Mastermind Live method, Mastermind Live workshop method that we've been talking about. I've been saying, people say time and again, I just want to have a membership. I do, a $47 a month membership. It's like, or some are doing 27 or whatever it is. Everyone I talk to runs into that same problem. The administration, the support, all of that takes so much time and energy that the juice just isn't really worth the squeeze, It's kind of like, whereas when you're jumping in the mastermind, you didn't even have to set any of that up. You can get going and people think, but then I've got to give myself. But you haven't found it a massive imposition in your time compared to the other things that you were doing before, have you? Like it's
not at all. And because I like that heart-centered, all the juiciness of having people together and connecting, it doesn't even feel like work to me. It's like, what's happening with you? Okay, cool. Now let's talk about this. Let's get to the crux of it and like really looking underneath. What's underneath that? Let's go deeper. And so it's all the stuff that I absolutely love anyway. So it's nowhere near as hard as the membership site whatsoever.
No, and I also find that you get more of that meaning. Like when you set up, say, a membership site and an online course, this is what I found is that people aren't getting the full goodness because they sort of can't if you're not showing up and giving that customization, I believe, anyway. And
I
then
agree.
You sort of feel left a bit, you never hear from them again, or you're not sure what really happened. And whereas when you're dealing with people in a mastermind or inspiring them, helping them grow, it's like you can see it in front of your eyes, you can touch it, it's so much more satisfying. And
exactly.
I know you do retreats as well, and there's an opportunity for us to even weave those into this offering or as we go. But even, you can kind of see how those two can come together now too, even your Bali retreats and bringing that into to perhaps your mastermind and doing those solo rather than just those one-off events where you go deep with those women and then there's not an opportunity for them to keep going with you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really just a tweak of the targeting message and the target market. Like it's really, I can see it so much more clearly now that once you had said you really need to double down, I was like, ooh, and then I went, oh yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. And then it's like being really obvious to me. Like I'm a big believer in like we get given all the messages, and like I've totally noticed lately other like major brands where they've just gone all in on their one thing, and now all of a sudden I'm noticing they're starting to bring out these other things, and I'm like, yeah, interesting. They did just do their one thing first. And then they started to branch out.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of power in that, and I'm really looking forward to scaling it and getting it to a really good place. And, I've got a good feeling about it.
I have absolutely no doubt this can work to 7 figures. Absolutely. I'm completely convinced of it. So I'm looking forward to us working together even more. But I love your bravery at just jumping in, taking action, getting on board with, the strategies. Some of them, could feel hard where I said, no, you can't touch that for a while. Let's just go here and do it. And I think that's part of, you would find this with your clients too. When they're invested and they're showing up, I mean, you're not going to invest in Mastermind Success Secrets and then just go and do your own thing, right? Like there's a part of, okay, well, I've got to get this moving and I'm going to take the advice despite what you might fear or be scared of. But that in itself, just having that container can really spur things on. Well, that's what I find when I invest as well. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely.
All right, love. Now, where can people find you if they were in that, in your beautiful realm, just tell them you're obviously just on Facebook probably is the best way
Yeah,
to
they
find
can get in
people
touch
the
with
group.
me on Facebook, either through my personal profile or
I'll
my
tag you
Amy
in
Mingan
here.
Women's Health Naturopath page. Otherwise, I've got a website, amymingan.com, and you can get in touch with me there.
Beautiful.
So, send me through a message on Facebook, because that's often where I'm
Where
hanging
you're
out.
doing your best work. And
That's it.
And I love always, every week she comes on the call, she's walking down the beach. She's just the Gold Coast chick, just making us all jealous down in Melbourne when we have the shitty weather. And you're always just looking, you're the best advertisement for everything you do. I love it. So
Thanks.
it's a joy to work with you. And thanks for showing up today and sharing a bit of that, because I think it's good. It's easy for me to say, oh, and then I worked with this client, or then I showed them, or, but it doesn't mean anything as much as someone showing up and really sharing their story. So thanks for being able to do that. I appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So, you know where to find Amy, and I think it's definitely something that it doesn't have to be a barrier. So if you're sitting there thinking, this week we've gone from session 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Mastermind method, how to activate that in your business, and all these objections come up. Well, I've got this, I'd rather do an online course, or my audience won't pay. I mean, you probably had that one too, Amy, where you think, naturopaths won't pay, or maybe they're not making enough money in their clinic, so how would they invest in these things? Or people think, I don't want to jump on calls, but you can keep some flow and freedom within that. Absolutely. And Amy's an example of that. No tech nightmares, just get there and get moving. So thanks for sharing that with us. And as always, the replays for the Mastermind Method workshop are live until Thursday, the end of Thursday. So if you haven't watched sessions 1 to 4, go back and watch them. There's also a recap page, which is just victoriagibson.com/recap. So make sure you get those before they come down, because we kind of spell out everything that we've done together, Amy, as well. So I want to make sure people get that goodness and start taking action, because that's what you've done and you're ready to go, and this is scalable now. So it's beautiful. All right, everyone. As always, comment below, and happy to answer any questions. And I'm sure I'll tag Amy in. I'm sure she is too. And we'll go from there. All right. Thanks, Amy.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Victoria. Bye.